So cool, ice cubes are jealous. Yeah, it's not something you hear every day. But that is the motto of PC Linux OS. And if you haven't heard about PC Linux OS, well, you can be forgiven, but it has been around for many, many, many years. And already from October 2003, and through all the couple of years, it's been rebased a couple of times and one or two other revisions. But essentially, it comes from back in the days of using a lot of packages from Mageia, Fedora, OpenSUSE, etc. And of course, today, PC Linux, which is still around, makes use of the very interesting apt RPM. So apt RPM is essentially apt package manager, which most people know for Debian and Ubuntu type distros, but there is a fork of apt that works for RPM packages. So that is something that is quite interesting, and something important to realize about PC Linux OS, especially going on my forums, is it's highly stated to not install software from anywhere else except the App Store. That's, I assume, obviously for stability reasons, and that they have better control over everything, and it makes sense if you think about it. But if you're the type of person and you want to go and install your own different RPMs, well, this might not be the distro for you. You'll see they also have the PC Linux magazine, which I've got here as well, which they basically just go through how to install different bits of software, some by Flatpaks I see now. A couple of things about the forums, GIMP tutorials. Actually, really pretty interesting, and adds an extra flavor to it, including, ironically, their recipe corner about steak and potato foil packets. But I'm sure you're not here to watch and look at videos of steak and potatoes, so let's start this. I've opted to use the Mate or Mate desktop, just because I don't do it as often as KDE. So let's start this up and take it from there. So I'm just getting the iSet image quickly. Just refresh it here. Okay, so PC Linux OS. And when they ask what distro it is, I'm just going to choose generic 2022. Let's give this over 8 gigs of memory and give it 8 CPU cores and 80 gig hard drive, and call it PC Linux OS. And hit enter. Wait for this thing to start up. And instead of doing the live CD, let's just install this straight and test it from there. So, interesting logo and startup here. Gives me those old Mageia Mandriva Linux vibes. Definitely taking a couple of seconds. Okay, talking about Mandriva, it's got the same installer. So we're doing yes for the US keyboard, and we'll go through the installation. So we're going to use the free space on the drive. We're not going to do custom partitioning. Computing total size. All partitions will be wiped. Yes. Oh. Okay, that's lack of options there, but I'm sure that'll be on the next screen. Sometimes it's refreshing to install a distro that doesn't ask you too many questions while you're installing it. Finally, I did mention it before. This OS is a rolling release, so you download the ISO and you just continue running updates. Okay, so grab on the graphical menu, boot device, 10 seconds, that's fine. I'm going to say next. We're going to probe for foreign OS, but we don't need to in here. There's no other OSs installed. Hit finish. Let it install bootloader. This is pretty quick to install. I'm kind of guessing that it will at some point reboot Yeah, and then ask us to remove the stuff. Please click finish, shut down the computer. So we click finish. And as you can see, it's using code 6.3.5. Let's expand the screen. Here. So, failed to start the X server, your graphical interface. Okay, what just happened? The error message and now go straight to time zone. That's interesting. Okay, well, Pacific time zone. And wait to do something. We need to set a password, admin password, or root password. So let's set a very strong password. Oh, you could do no password. Please don't ever do no password for your root account. That's like madness. That would be like hiding all of your belongings into a safe and you take the safe's lock off. That would be the smartest thing to do. Okay, so let's log in. Gosh, add my strong password. And let's fix this interface. Guessing it's here, configure. And it's control center, very similar to the old SUSE, and of course very similar to the old Vendriva and the new mid-GM open Vendriva. Let's go to system, I imagine. Okay, hardware. Set up the graphical server. Okay, it's got the virtual card, that's fine. Monitor, fine. Resolution, automatic, no. We want 19. Okay. F. 1920 by 1080. Thank you very much. 16 million colors. Okay. Yes. I need to reboot to accept the changes. Okay, let's reboot. I'm not going to complain. Failed to start the X server. That takes me back to 1995. And okay, it looks like this is going to work now. I assume it just has that error because it's on the virtual machine. Okay, cool. Now we've got the it up, and now we can start exploring. So, computer, course, using version 1.26.1. I think that's the latest release of Marty Desktop. Add all the typical settings you would find in computer and home. And of course down here, applications, places, and system. So let's start with HTOP, which shows that this is hardly using any memory. Wow, this is only using 380 megs of memory. That's fantastic. Really nicely optimized. Kudos. And hardly any processor usage. That's really great to see. Wow, I'm impressed. Configure your computer or a Scopus. We can go through this again. Software manager, sharing, to configure a web server or FTP. Configure if you're setting this up as a DNS or DHCP server, or you want to open SSH to it. Your audio config, your scanner config. Open up a console's admin, import Windows, documents and settings. Really interesting to do that. Creating a Windows network share or Samba share. So I've made that pretty easy here. Your local disk, so if you want to manage your disk partitions, I'm going to show you here. And you can see it actually uses ext for my default. Security, set up your firewall, boot. Really nice. And if you look at the about, you'll see first license was for Manjira, then Regia, and PCLinuxOS does come from those. That's why it's so similar. They have an NTFS configuration tool, so that should be if you're mounting NTFS Windows partitions. Okay. Interesting file tools, stuff like BleachPit, that allows you to basically goes and cleans and removes certain files from your machine, like for privacy, like a bash history, graphics, internet. Interesting that Mega Sync Cloud storage, and any desk. Don't see these too often. Office package, LibreOffice, Software Center, VirtualBox managers, and pre-installed. No way. Okay, so it will download and install VirtualBox for you. That's a nifty feature. Synaptic Package Manager. So let's go there. And of course, Synaptic used usually for apt packages, and this uses apt RPM. This is how to do it. Under video, Spotify, desktop client. Okay, some interesting choices. Places, the usual home, desktop, my computer, system preferences, all the usual stuff, how you can configure your machine using Marte's or Mate's configuration, your admin, and the Marte control center. So if I want to install software, do I first use the install or remove software, or do I use Synaptic? Okay, starting. I assume you probably will use Synaptic here. So I have to close that. So let's do NeoFetch. Nice. So kernel 6.35, PC Linux, latest version of Mate. Using another level, maybe not much. And if we need to do upgrades, mark all upgrades. I guess. How do you do updates here? I will be honest, the last time I used this distro was many years ago, about 10. In many ways, it hasn't changed, which is actually a very good thing, I suppose. Yeah, it's still relatively pretty decent on memory usage. Always had a pretty soft spot for this, but I never kind of knew where it fits in with the other distros. But it has a good following behind it, so really decent distros, and of course the control center really does make it easier for the average person to use, so nothing wrong with that. And just wanted to see if I search for something like Nano. Okay, that is actually already installed. Let's say I look for Duff. Duff is not available. Okay, so you use this as your staunch user, and you've used this for years. It's rolling. It'll continue running, and see no issues. I'm continuing to use this forward. I think well done to the team for keeping this running after all the years, and of course they do have info on their site on how to donate if you're interested. But yeah, if you want to try something a little bit different, then by all means. As always, thanks for watching.
you.